Hey guys, welcome back. Today we're going to read a little bit more out of The Wild Robot. Yesterday we left off on the end of chapter 33. Today we're starting with chapter 34 and it's called The Mother. So now Roz and her gosling, who they're calling Bright Bill, they have a nest and they have a garden, and their lives are starting to take shape as a very strange pair of a mother and a son. Like most goslings, Bright Bill followed his mother everywhere. He was a slow, tottering little thing, but Roz was rarely in a hurry, and together they loved meandering along the forest paths and around the banks of the pond. However, they spent most of their time right in their own garden. You see, the garden was no longer scraggly. Thanks to the robot's careful attention, it was now bursting with colors and scents and flavors. Clearly, Roz was designed to work with plants. "Oh, Roz, you've been busy," said Tawny as her family gazed on the wonderful growing things. "This garden is glorious. You will be seeing quite a lot of us around here." Tawny meant what she said. Each morning around daybreak, Roz and Bright Bill would hear quiet footsteps outside of their nest, and there would be Tawny and Crown Point and their fawns, Willow and Thistle, and Brooke happily nibbling on the garden. The deer weren't the only regular visitors. The beavers became quite fond of gnawing on certain hardy shrub at the edge of the garden. Dig Down, the old groundhog, popped up to munch on berries. Broadfoot, the giant bull moose, came by to chew on tree shoots. And of course, bees and butterflies were there every day, happily floating through the flowers. They always seemed to be friendly animals hanging around the garden. It was amazing how differently everyone treated Roz these days. Animals who once ran from the robot in fear now stopped by the nest just to spend time with her. The neighbors smiled and waved whenever Roz and Bright Bill wandered past, and at the dawn truce, which is when all of the animals come together at the lake, the other mothers were eager to share their parenting advice. "Make sure that Bright Bill gets plenty of rest. A tired gosling is a cranky gosling. When the wind starts blowing from the north, you must immediately get Bright Bill to safety. North winds always bring bad weather. You will never be the perfect mother, so just do the best that you can. All Bright Bill really needs is to know that you are doing your best." No gosling had ever had a more attentive mother. Roz was always there, ready to answer her son's questions, or to play with him, or to rock him to sleep, or to whisk him away from danger. With a computer brain packed full of parenting advice and the lessons that she was learning on her own, the robot was actually becoming an excellent mother. So this chapter 35 is called The First Swim. "Good afternoon, you two," said Loudwing as she waddled into the garden. "Remember me, Bright Bill?" "Loudwing, Loudwing." "Very good," the old goose giggled. "Now, Roz, do you know what tomorrow is? Tomorrow is swimming day. The day when all of the parents take their goslings out on the pond for the first time, and you simply must bring Bright Bill." "Swim, swim," said the gosling, shaking his little tail feathers. "Bright Bill can go," said Roz, "but I cannot swim. I cannot go on the pond with him. I will not be able to protect him." Who'd have thought a big thing like you would be a little afraid of a little water? Loudwing laughed. "Well, don't you worry about Bright Bill. He'll be safe in the flock, and he's going to have so much fun swimming with the other goslings. We begin at sunrise, so don't be late. See you in the morning." And with that, the goose plopped onto the water and glided away. "Swim, swim," said the gosling. "Yes, Bright Bill," said the robot, staring at the pond. "Swim, swim." Early the next morning, peeps and honks and splashes began echoing through the calm water. Roz and Bright Bill followed a trail through the fog and over to the beach that was crawling with fluffy goslings and proud parents. Roz took a few steps into the water, and her survival instincts immediately flared up. The robot's computer brain knew that if water got inside her body, it could do serious damage. And so, as the other parents began swimming across the pond, Roz stood safely in the shallows and watched. Bright Bill ran up and down the beach with the other goslings, peeping and laughing and pretending to be afraid of tiny waves. When one wave finally pulled him in, he felt his body floating on top of the water. A big smile appeared on the gosling's face. Clearly, Bright Bill was designed to swim. "Very good, Bright Bill," said Loudwing as she floated past. "You're a natural." "Yes, Bright Bill, you are a natural," said Roz, trying to sound like a good mother. Loudwing rounded up all of the goslings and gave them a quick swimming lesson. "Remember, everyone, paddle your feet evenly to swim in a straight line. Paddle with just your right foot to go left and paddle with your left foot to go right. Try it out. Join the rest of us when you're ready. Happy swimming day." Loudwing and the other adult geese calmly glided towards the center of the pond. A jumble of goslings tried to keep up with them. The youngsters jostled and splashed and peeped with excitement, and gradually they paddled in the direction of their parents. Only Bright Bill lagged behind. "Mama, swim?" Roz pointed to the flock. "I cannot swim. Go and have fun with the other geese. You will be safe with them." The gosling took a breath, and then he shook his tail feathers and he paddled his feet, and he set out on his very first swim. He drifted too far to the left, and then he drifted too far to the right, but his feet just kept paddling until he caught up to the other goslings. Roz spent the morning watching her son swim around and around on the pond, and she watched him. As she watched him, she felt something like gratitude. Thanks to Bright Bill, the robots now had friends and shelter and help. Thanks to Bright Bill, the robot had become better at surviving. In a way, Roz needed Bright Bill as much as Bright Bill needed Roz, which was precisely why she felt such concern when the mood on the pond suddenly changed. One moment, everything was tranquil, and the next moment, the geese were in a panic. Something was violently sloshing through the group. It was Rockmouth, the giant, toothy pike. The fish had been a problem in the pond for as long as anyone could remember, but he had never attacked goslings before. All the parents immediately went to protect their young, all the parents except Roz. The robot could only stand in the shallows and watch as her son left the other geese behind, desperately swam towards his own mother. "Swim to me, Bright Bill, quickly!" The gosling kicked as fast as he could, but alone on the water, he made an easy target. The pond rippled as Rockmouth slashed below the surface. "Mama, help!" squeaked Bright Bill. The robot was terribly conflicted. Part of her knew that she had to help her son, but another part of her knew that she had to stay out of the deep water. Her body lurched forward and then backward again and again as she struggled to make a decision. And then Loudwing came to the rescue. "Rockmouth, don't you dare harm that little darling." The old goose fluttered over and splashed down right on top of the fish. "Leave him alone." And then she pecked and she kicked and she beat her wings against the fish until he surrendered to the murky depths of the pond. Loudwing escorted Bright Bill back to the beach, and a minute later the gosling was in his mother's arms, safe and sound. "Rockmouth isn't as dangerous as he seems," said the goose out of breath, "but I think that's enough swimming for one day." All right. This is called, chapter 36 is called The Gosling Grows. Bright Bill soon forgot all about the incident with Rockmouth. As he spent his mornings cruising around the pond with other goslings, he was becoming a great little swimmer. He was also becoming a great little speaker. "Hello, my name is Bright Bill," he said to anyone who would listen. The gosling was small for his age, and he always would be, but he was growing bigger and stronger by the day. His increasing size was matched by his increasing appetite. He gobbled down grass and berries and nuts and leaves. Sometimes he would snack on little insects. If it was edible, Bright Bill would eat it, and even if it wasn't edible, he might eat it anyway. Roz felt something like fright the time she saw Bright Bill swallowing pebbles on the beach. She was holding him upside down and hoping that the pebbles would just fall out of his mouth when Loudwing stepped in. "Put the gosling down," said the goose with a laugh. "It's perfectly natural for Bright Bill to eat a few pebbles. They will help him digest his food, but not too many, okay, little one?" Like most youngsters, Bright Bill was incredibly curious. He explored the garden and the pond and the forest and the forest floor. He would occasionally explore neighboring homes. He'd wander down some hole in the ground and say to whoever was there, "Hello, my name is Bright Bill." And then a long robot arm would reach in and pull the gosling back outside. "Sorry to bother you," Roz would say in her friendliest voice. The mother and the son slipped into a good nighttime routine. While the gosling slept, the robot might tend to the fire if it was cool out, or gently fan him if it was warm. If he woke up hungry or thirsty, Roz brought him food or water, and whenever he had nightmares, she was always there to rock him back to sleep. This is called the squirrel. A small squirrel was scurrying through the garden. Bright Bill had never seen her before. He peered out from the nest and watched her bounce across the lawn. After a minute of spying, the gosling shook his tail feathers and waddled outside. "Hello, my name is Bright Bill." The squirrel froze. Then she slowly turned around, and then she started to talk. "Hi, Bright Bill. My name is Chit Chat, and I'm 12.5 weeks old, and I'm a squirrel, and I'm new around here, and your home is really big and round, and I don't understand why smoke sometimes comes out of it." Reader, I'm not quite sure how Chit Chat got enough air into her lungs to just go on and on like that, and I'm not quite sure how Bright Bill had the patience to listen, but he just stood there, and he politely nodded as Chit Chat rambled on and on and on. "And sometimes I see you waddling behind your funny-looking mother, and you seem so nice that I thought I would come down and introduce myself, but now I'm nervous and I'm talking too much, and my name is Chit Chat. I think I already said that." Then there was a pleasant silence. Bright Bill stood on one foot for a moment, and then the gosling took a deep breath and said, "It's very nice to meet you, Chit Chat. I don't think you talk too much. I think you talk just enough, and I like you. So let's be friends." A big smile appeared on the squirrel's tiny face. For once, Chit Chat was speechless. And here's Chit Chat. This is called The New Friendship. Chit Chat wasn't speechless for long. She had already been alive for a whole 12.5 weeks, and she wanted to tell Bright Bill about every exciting thing and every boring thing that had ever happened to her. And so, as the new friends played and explored and ate together, the squirrel shared her stories. "I was born on the other side of the hill, and then last week I decided I was ready to build my first dray, which is what you call a squirrel's nest, and now I live in that tree with the weird bump in its trunk," she said, while the two of them kicked pebbles on the ground. "One time, a weasel chased me through the treetops until he missed a branch and he fell all the way down, and he crashed into a bush and walked away, all wobbly, and then he never bothered me again," she said, while the two of them crawled through a hollow log. "Ew, gross. I saw you eat that ant one time. I ate a gnat by accident, and I didn't like it at all because I mostly eat acorns and bark and tree buds and sometimes the yummy little berries that grow in your garden," she said, while the two of them took a snack break. But Chit Chat was a good listener, as good of a listener as she was of a talker, and whenever it was Bright Bill's turn to speak, she kept quiet, and she hung on every word he said. Do you know who enjoyed their conversations most of all? Our robot, Roz. The protective mother was never far away, and she felt something like amusement at the silly conversations that she overheard, and she felt something like happiness that her son had made such a good friend. We're going to read one more chapter today. This is called The First Light. Bright Bill had spent his entire life by the pond, and he was becoming very curious about what lay beyond his neighborhood. So one day his mother said to him, "Let us go for a walk, and I will show you more water than you could possibly imagine." Roz placed the gosling on her flat shoulder, and then the two of them set off across the island. They marched out of the forest, they crossed the great meadow, and they climbed uphill until they were at the top of the island's western ridge. Before them was a grassy slope that descended all the way to the dark choppy waves that surrounded the island. "That is a lot of water," said the wide-eyed gosling. I'm a good swimmer, but I'm not good enough to swim across that pond. That is not a pond, said the robot. That is an ocean, and I doubt that any bird could swim across an ocean. Waves rolled in from the horizon. Seagulls circled above the shore. A steady breeze blew up the slope. Brightbill's yellow fluff had recently changed over to a coat of silky brown feathers, and he spread his feathery wings into the breeze, and then, Mama, look! For the briefest of moments, the wind lifted Brightbill up and off of the ground, but he quickly tipped backward and he thumped into the soft grass. I was flying, he squeaked. That was not flying, said Roz, looking back at her upside-down son. Well, I was almost flying. I'm going to try it again. I have observed many birds in flight, said Roz. Sometimes they flap their wings quickly, and other times they fly without flapping at all. They spread their wings, and then they soar on the wind. So I was soaring, said Brightbill. Almost. There, look at that soaring seagull. It seems like she is not doing anything, but if you look closer, you will notice that she is making small adjustments with her wings and with her tail. I think you should try adjusting your wings in the wind like her. Brightbill hopped onto a rock and opened up his wings wide. The wind is pushing me backwards. And here he is. Change the angle of your wings, said his mother. Let us see what happens when they slice through the air. Brightbill slowly angled his wings downward. The more he turned them, the less wind pushed him backwards. And just as his wings leveled off, "Oh, Mama, look!" he squeaked. As his feet left the ground, I'm soaring! I'm soaring! He hovered there for a second, rising a little higher than before, and then he sailed backwards into the soft grass again. The gosling kept hopping onto the rock and kept on riding the wind and kept tumbling into the grass until he started to find his wings. With each attempt, he floated a little higher and a little longer, and finally Brightbill really did soar. He lifted high into the air and he hung there, floating. He turned his wings down and he felt himself drop. He wiggled his tail feathers and he felt himself veering back and forth. I'm a natural, he squeaked. You are doing very well, said Roz, but you need to keep practicing. And so they spent the afternoon practicing up on the ridge. Once Brightbill was comfortable soaring, he tried flapping his wings. He flapped high into the air. He flapped in straight lines. He flapped around and around in circles. A big smile appeared on the gosling's face. Clearly, Brightbill was designed to fly. I'm flying, Mama. I'm really flying. You are flying, said the robot. Very good. Brightbill was now a real flyer. But all that flying had worn him out. He lowered himself towards the ground and he tumbled into the grass one last time. His landings still needed some work. Roz placed Brightbill on her shoulder and then headed back to the nest. I can't believe I can fly now, Mama, said Brightbill in his sleepy voice. Oh, I just wish you could fly with me. And then the gosling's words were replaced by his quiet, steady breathing. Next chapter is called The Ship. We'll pick up there tomorrow. Bye, guys.